I was doing my usual work sessions yesterday, and I just got done with my work at the coffee shop that I usually go to. And I came out of the coffee shop all ready, all packed up, ready to go home and hit the gym. And I got to like this, I guess this plaza, I guess you could call it, this small square. And this one guy that I knew from, usually there's these people where I live that do fundraising in the street, right? And so these guys were like just doing their usual work, talking to people, approaching people like, hey, could you sign this document, da da da, whatever it may be for. But the whole point is, I saw this guy and he was actually free. So I approached him and he approached me and said like, hey, how's it going, bro? Da da da. And like every single time I see you, you're such an inspirational person. You dress super well. You look so clean and good. Like, how do you do that? Like, I'm really curious. And it became apparent to me at that point in time that becoming an inspirational person doesn't come from who you are and who you become, but instead what you do. Let me explain a little bit about what I mean. This video that I wanted to record and give a little bit of this topic and talk a little bit about the subject with you guys comes from this discussion I had with this guy. Basically, he was asking like, yeah, every single time I see you, I feel so motivated and so inspired. And so I wanted to share a little bit about my research and what I've done and what I've learned so far and what has helped me in order to get more and more of these, I guess you could call interactions in the wild with these other people that just work and they just do their own life, you know? And so the one thing I've noticed, the most important thing is actions. For instance, see how he described the first three things he commented on my appearance was my energy, so like how you carry yourself. Second thing is how I dress, and third thing is how I groom myself. And those three things are actions, things that are impacted by actions. First off, you need to be taking care of yourself, you need to be dressed well, you need to be taking care of your appearance, making sure you're well groomed, like you get a haircut, you at least if you have a beard, trim your beard. Like as you can see, all of this here, I shave it, right? And then here I just keep it trimmed down. And if you have a patchy beard, make sure that you either shave it all off or you make sure that it's all well trimmed and well groomed, well taken care of. And so these are like the small actions you can take, but further and deeper than that, you can look at somebody's energy, right? When you're talking with someone, are you extremely coherent with who you are? Are you extremely yourself? Are you extremely genuine in who you are as a person? Do you put a mask on when you're talking to people? Like, is when you're talking, people, do they see the real you? Or do they see the version of you that you want them to see? Are you faking it? Or are you actually who you say you are? All of these things matter a lot. You can see this. I've been studying a lot of Carl Jung recently, the psychologist, I think he was, German guy. And it was truly interesting to see that I recognized most of the things I did on a day-to-day basis within what he talked about. For example, I think he was talking about one time I was listening to maybe like this document on the empath or whatever the fuck. And basically what he was saying is there's like a hidden energy in the world that ends up happening when you are so genuinely yourself and coherent with who you are as a person. Like who you portray outward and who you are inward are so exactly the same and connected, that there are two different types of creatures on this earth that can sense that. Number one is, and both of them don't have a social filter, is number one is animals. So like small animals that have been scanning their environments since like the dawn of man, that have been just looking like for threats and opportunities and making sure that everything is safe. And like a small dog or a small cat, or like whatever it may be, a bird, literally anything, if they can feel that your energy is coherent and you're not going to harm them, they will come to you without even asking. Like for instance, a good example that that document that was given was, if let's say there's like, you go to a family gathering and there's this dog that never goes up to anyone, and for some reason, like he looks up at everybody, and then he comes towards you and he just sits down in front of your, like in front of your feet, and he just stays there. He understands that the energy you're radiating is coherent, and that is completely linked with becoming an inspirational person. I also am going to talk a little bit about how that's linked to respect and respecting others, especially. The other type of person, so there's animals, and then there's the second type of person, which is very young children. So like small infants, basically, that don't have a social filter. They just run around everywhere. They scream. They're super happy. They're super joyful, and they're super innocent, right? If you have this like coherent part of you that is genuinely yourself 100% of the time, well, children will stare at you, and they might smile, they might not smile, but the fact that they stare at you is just because like, this person's actually real. Like this person's different. He resonates differently than everybody else. Like that's the biggest thing. And so this impacts your inspirational energy whenever you're talking to people. Not only does your energy matter, but your actions matter a lot as well. So, for example, now I'm going to talk a little bit about how does your actions actually matter whenever you want to become an inspirational person to others around you. Your actions matter way more because, like, for instance, I'll give you a little bit of a story. Example. I go to the same coffee shop every single day. You might, if you look at a lot of my videos, you might end up understanding that I talk a little bit about this subject quite a lot because, to be perfectly honest, there's a lot of like sources of interaction and social gathering in the coffee shop environment, and so it gives way to a lot of different interactions that you can have with a lot of different people. And so I use this to my advantage, not only to develop my own and like get better at like social interaction, but also it allows me to zone out and help me focus on my work, because there's so many things that I don't need to focus on that are not my responsibility, that I just end up focusing on what's in front of me, which is my work on my computer or my notebook. And so I'm sitting there at this coffee shop, and every single time I get there, I pay for usually I get like a tea and a water, and I sit down and I start working, right? But before I start working, I make sure I get maybe 3 or 4 paper napkins, and I put them on the table, right? On the table, so that way I get my tea, my water, my everything, and I put them on the napkins. So that way, when I'm done, I pack up everything and make sure everything is assembled up together. I bring it back to the kitchen or the counter, and the feeling that happens when you do that I guess you could call it respect, but it's basically it's kind of like a kind type of respect that you get from other people. It's like, this guy brought his stuff back to the counter. He didn't want to make a mess. He made sure to put the paper napkins on the table so that way I don't have to clean the table. He didn't have any food, so I don't have to wipe the table down. He didn't put any fucking fluids on the table, any water or any tea. And so the table is extremely clean when he got there and after he left. And so this is extremely useful to the people around you at the coffee shop, because the servers or the waiters or the baristas, they come over and they say like, oh, actually I don't have to clean the table. He cleaned up after himself. That's great. That helps me out a lot. And so this person has made me feel better because he actually took my time and effort and energy into account. He didn't just think about himself. He didn't just leave his stuff on the table and like everybody else. He actually took some time to make sure I didn't have more work to do, right? And so becoming an inspirational person comes from two things. I've talked a little bit about this in yesterday's video, where I talked a little bit about respect and how that is earned. It is not just expected or out of the blue, you know? And so not only is respect extremely important if you want to become an inspirational person, the other thing that is extremely important is becoming empathetic. You need to empathize with others. You need to put yourself in their shoes and be like, okay, how can I make sure this person feels his best whenever I'm around? How can I respect this person? How can I love this person as much as I would love myself? If I was in his shoes, would I like for the client to put his stuff away and take him back to the counter instead of making a mess on the table? Yes, of course. So why don't I do it? If the roles were reversed, what would you want to happen? That is the best question you can ask if you want to become more empathetic. If the roles were reversed, what would I want the other person to say or do to help me? Or to make my life easier? Or to make me feel better? That's extremely easy. And then you just have to practice over and over. Just do it, and do it so many times as if it is just an inherent part of you at this point. I've done this like for the past over maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 months at this point, going to the same coffee shop and just doing the same thing over and over. I get there, I get 3 paper napkins, I get my tea, my water, I put everything down on the table, and then I clean up after myself. Because I don't want other people to clean up after me. I don't want to make their life worse. Because that's what I would want if I was a waiter or a barista or whatever it may be, job I'm working at. And if I go into a store, I'll make sure people feel better as well. If I need help from a store worker if I go to the store, I've never been to the store, and I'm looking for something extremely specific, like, hey, I'm looking for clothing pegs. It's like, oh, it's actually over there. Like, oh, can you show me, please? And then have a genuine conversation with them. Like, hey, really appreciate this. Thank you so much. Good luck to you. I know this job is extremely important, so I'm glad to have you actually do it, you know? People who work in a store is actually one of the most vital jobs that in today's society. If nobody worked at the store, no food for you, bro. Actually, no food. No cleaning products, no food, no snacks, no nothing. So you have to think for yourself, okay, is this person actually a respectable person by what they're doing? And if they are not, that's fine. Just leave them be. But if they are a respectable person from what they do or who they are or whatever it may be, if it's an old person, they have more experience than you do. So respect them for it, because they've been through more time than you have. Sure, if somebody's 1 month older than you are, it doesn't fucking matter. But at the end of the day, if somebody is a couple of years older than you, I suggest taking their advice and respecting them. And just, even if it seems like you have your shit in order way more than they do, they still have lived way longer than you have. And so maybe they have something like you don't know, right? Lived through an experience that you haven't. And so the whole point of becoming an inspirational person is so that you live within your means and you progress day after day, and using your time as much as possible to do things that progress your character forward. Like take life as if it was a video game and just improve your character. See how far you get. In 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it only takes 1 year to completely change your life around. I'm the living proof of this. 4 years ago, I started like flirting with the idea of becoming a business owner. And 1 year in, I learned so many things, but I was still shit and I wasn't getting paid. 2 years in, I learned a lot of things yet again, but still didn't get paid. 3 years in, got my first clients, actually paid clients. 4 years in, now I've already stepped up above the 5-figure mark, and now I'm like doing my best to grow and to become better every single day. Oh, I noticed this. I was actually not that good at this. Oh, I'm not very good at social communication. Oh, I'm not very good at empathizing with people. Oh, I'm not good at respecting people. Oh, I'm not good at dressing well. Oh, I'm not good at communication. And I mapped out everything I was bad at, and then I started taking action every single day to get better and better and better and better. And that's how I got to where I am today, through rigorous action every single day and never giving up. Being consistent with who I wanted to be, chasing down that future life that I wanted every single day, and I'm still not done. That's the most beautiful part. I feel like I've lived over 10, 20 years of just rigorous shit times of just learning things, from going from being super shit to actually becoming decently competent at something. But in all reality, it's been less than 5 years. I'm not even 24. I'm gonna be 24 this year, and I've learned so many things in 4 years that people that are 30 in closer to 40 are asking for my advice, and that's fucking weird, right? But that doesn't mean I'm not gonna respect them. That doesn't mean I'm just gonna stop doing as I say. If I say something, I'm going to do it. This is the whole point. If you become an inspirational person, you need to all of the different areas of your life to fit in. You can't just be good at one thing and then just fucking disregard everything else. That's not how it works. Being an inspirational person is being someone that people envy, people want to be. And so that means that you need to become someone that is so coherent with themselves and so genuine and so, I guess, hardworking would be a good word. You need to become a person that people want to be. And they're so jealous of the fact that you're good at being that person that they want you to stop. They want you to take a break. I remember so many different people, even in my family, even if in a lot of different places, they keep telling me hey, you're working too hard, or hey, you should take a day off, or do you never take a day off, or I always see you working here at this time, do you never take a time off? And I was like, no, because I have things that are more important to chase down. I have my goals, my dreams, and my aspirations, and that is more important than taking some time off. I might take 1 hour here and there to have a good time for myself. I might take 2 hours here and there to spend some time with my family, quality time. But I'll make sure at the end of the day that I never take a day off. I always do my best to push as far as I can to get better every single day. That is the motto. That is the belief in yourself that you can become better. And if I can do it, you can too. Like, there's nobody stopping you. The only person that might be stopping you right now is yourself. And so you need to combine your mind and your body into one being. And you need to make sure everything is coherent, everything follows up, everything matches, so that you are who you say you are. And there is no more lies, no more deceit. 100% truthful and honest person. That is what needs to be if you want to be an inspirational person. So this was a big video, a very compact video, I guess. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want a different topic that you would like me to talk about, feel free to recommend that in the comments. If you want any advice, any recommendations or feedback on becoming a more inspirational person, feel free to ask me in the comments, or about any other subject. I'm happy to give you some advice and help you out. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I post every single day, and even if the sky isn't blue, it is still sunny outside. There's still light, so that means the sun is going through the clouds. So the sun is up. It's time to get back to work, and I will see you in the next one tomorrow. See ya.